What's going on, everyone? In this video, I'll be going over the SAT August study routine that will get you the score you want. So with the SAT August exam being over a month away, now is the perfect time to really lock in your study routine for the August SAT and make sure you're hitting both the math and the reading. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're taking the regular SAT or the digital SAT, you need a strong study routine. Use a practice test, understanding of every single topic that will be administered on the exam, so repetition, a bunch of techniques that I'll be going over in this video. Now, the first major thing you have to do to make sure you have the best study routine for this upcoming August SAT is to decide your goal. What are you studying for? What is your end goal? What do you want to achieve by the end of you taking your said SAT exam? Do you want to be able to improve on one section? Do you want to improve on both sections? So what exactly are you studying for? Now, there's two really main goals that you can have when you're studying for the SAT. One is to improve on one section, and the second is to improve on both sections. Now, sometimes students who know that they're going to take the SAT more, let's say they take the SAT August and they also plan on taking the October SAT. In that case, they might only focus on math for the SAT August, and then in October they'll focus on the reading part. That way they can super score and get an ultimate amazing SAT score, right? If they study all their time for math for this August SAT and they spend no time on reading, they know their reading score will be bad, but they know their math score will be excellent. And that's one technique that a lot of students do use, but that will require you to take the SAT twice. Now, some students don't want to have that mental stress to take it twice. They might not have the money to take it twice, so as a result they might try to improve on both sections. Now, both sections, obviously you have to split the amount of studying you're doing so you actually improve on math and reading, but depending on who you are as a person in terms of your strengths and weaknesses, you might not have to study much for math, or might not have to study much for reading. So that's still something you have to really decide for yourself and see what type of person are you when it comes to math and reading on the SAT. Now, the second big thing you have to do is to do time practice tests. Usually I always say take practice tests and don't really have to time yourself, you just want to focus on accuracy, but nowadays being able to simulate that test environment does play a major factor, because a lot of students, yes, might be scoring 1500s or 1300s on their practice SAT, but when time is there, there's an actual clock, you might start feeling that pressure, that test day pressure that they're not used to feeling. And when you're pressured or nervous, no matter if you're the best student in the world, you will probably not perform your best. And you might be a 1500 score, but on test day you might end up being a 1200. The next major thing you gotta do is to understand that yes, there's digital SAT and there's a non-digital SAT, but the practice and the technique and the concepts and the pattern are the same for both. You can take digital SAT practice tests to study for the regular SAT and vice versa, because at the end of the day, you just need practice tests. You just need practice SAT problems. So whether it's in the digital format and the non-digital format, it doesn't matter to you, because at the end of the day, your goal is to get that problem right. Whether it be math or reading, you better know the formula or know what reading concept applies to that problem and get it right. And by exposing yourself to both digital and non-digital SAT problems, you're seeing various SAT problems, right? You're not running out of problems. You're not doing the same problems over and over again, like that might happen if you take the same practice test over or keep on doing Khan Academy. Usually they run out of problems, and that's when you have to get more problems, and that's why I highly recommend, practicing both digital and non-digital SAT. And by the way, like I said, most problems are similar. So it's not like all of a sudden if you're doing one of the SATs, you can start getting quadratical derivatives and integrals. So you're like, whoa, what's going on? It's the same stuff, guys. SAT is a SAT, period. The next thing you really gotta do for your study regime to be perfect is to practice for 2 to 3 hours straight with breaks mirroring your SAT break. On the SAT, you should get a 10-15 minute break in between sections, or sometimes even a 5-minute break. You might have to double check on that one. Depending on whatever that break time is, that's how I want you to have your breaks. So I want you to take like a 25-minute practice exam, or do 25 minutes worth of SAT math problems and take that break, right? Because 25 minutes is how much you get for the first section, right? Take that 5-10 minute break and then do 50 minutes or 36 minutes of practice and take another break. Simulate that test environment day, like I said in an earlier tip, right? You want to have the same type of breaks, have the same type of work sprints, spend the same amount of time practicing and studying as you will on the actual SAT, right? When it comes to actually taking it, how much time you have, actually doing the problems, work versus resting and chilling. The last thing is to track your progression. All right, your study regime has to be adaptable. It's not one thing hard set in stone. You're studying math, reading math, reading math, reading. Some days you might realize that, hey, after you take your practice test, you see that you're amazing at math. You're getting a 780, 790. Now you can do math in 2 days reading, math 2 days reading, because you already are a master at the math section. So why are you spending so much time when, let's say your reading score is a 500, you spend more time getting that up, because your math score, if it's a 780, you can only go up 20 points. If your reading score is a 500, that can go up 300 points. And you want to get as many points as possible. So that's when you want to focus on reading, which is why you need to track your progression, which is why you gotta take practice tests. That way we can really see where you are at on your SAT journey. You gotta track your progress to see where you need to improve on, what you need to spend more time studying, and that's how you can really get your study regime and make it into a great one, or even a perfect one, depending on how adaptable you can make it. So please make it adaptable, and the best way to do that is by tracking your progression. Now, with these SAT study tips and study routine potential you have, you can honestly get whatever score you want, guys. Practice like you never won, perform like you never lost. That's a quote that I want you guys to remember when this video is over. And if you remember the quote, what I just said, I want you to comment down below. Like that quote and a time where that could apply to your life, or how it can apply to your life in the future when you start studying for the SAT. But thank you all for watching. Peace.